I mean, it's a no-brainer. Fake news and elections now come together in the time of social media and messaging apps. Fake news, unfortunately, is so well resourced and funded that it is a very, very difficult battle to fight. But we're happy to discover at the Quint that our readers are participating in the fight against fake news, and they are sharing with us stories that they come across or posts that they come across, and which is very heartening because clearly the myth about confirmation bias has definitely been busted by our readers here.
Yeah, I mean, clearly fake news is, I think, the challenge number one, not just before digital news, but just the whole information ecosystem. And what Ritu just said about readers becoming a filter, news portals becoming a filter, I think the ultimate challenge will have to be addressed by the social media platforms and the apps, which are the method by which these things become viral and get shared. And ultimately, because of the speed at which these things spread, you have to have a situation where there has to be a technology solution to weeding out at least a large part of the fake news. The world is obsessed with this challenge. I'm sure it'll come up with a solution. Luckily in India, there's very little formal media censorship. But what we are seeing in this country over the last few years is something that's quite unprecedented. We are seeing media self-censorship, where media itself is trying to block out news which is important, or knowingly allowing some element of unverified news to go through. We saw examples of that very graphically in the Balakot terror strikes, where on the first day all kinds of numbers were peddled not by social media, not by propagandists, but by mainstream media without having any verification done to that. So I think it's we are living in an age of self-censorship, and I think the solution to that can only be media going back, or at least news media going back to its essential principles and roots, which is be independent, fearless, and verify before you publish.
No, I think pretty much what Raghav said here. And I think if we were to also not try, and I think there's a lot of herd mentality. So if one news site or one broadcaster puts out one hashtag, there is this tendency to piggyback on that hashtag. I think it's very important to stay away from this herd mentality, especially in this time of self-censorship. Digital newsroom is far more dynamic, far more exciting. And a digital newsroom is it's like running a newspaper, a radio channel, and a broadcast and a TV channel all at the same place, and at super fast speed because it's prime time all the time. So it's definitely the most dynamic newsroom on all counts, and it's far more exciting for me because I think the half an hour wheel, the news wheel, it's just too tedious. And I think non-linear is where you've got the audiences. I don't think the audiences are waiting for prime time anymore. I think people want news on the go, on their handheld devices, and that's what newsrooms like the Quint are doing, and it's very, very exciting.
Yeah, see, the ultimate thing here is, as Ritu's pointed out, television is actually very legacy, and really it's one way. And I think that's almost an anachronism in today's world. Which is so frenetic and two-way. All digital communication is largely two-way, while television is linear, one-way, and therefore it misses out on the entire dynamism of interactivity, the dynamism of multimedia. As Ritu said, actually a digital newsroom is a radio station, it's a graphic station, it's a television station, it's a printing press, it's almost all of those things rolled into one. And the last thing about the more important thing, not the last, the more important thing about digital is it's a young medium. Its audiences are much younger in age compared to audiences of legacy media networks, and therefore the way you address a story, the kind of story you do, the idiom you use, all of that is very, very young and very, very millennial. So a much more exciting and younger place to be in than legacy media, which is really old in technology and in audiences.
Yeah, all the innovation is here.